Good evening, my friend. Before your head sinks into that pillow tonight, before you hand this long day over to the quiet dark of your bedroom, I want just a few peaceful minutes with you, because what we're about to talk about concerns something you can't buy back once it slips away: your memory. The names, the faces, the birthdays, the stories that make you unmistakably you. Here's something almost nobody sits people down and explains properly. The hour or two before sleep isn't a throwaway stretch of time to fill with the television or a careless snack off the counter. It's a window, and what you put into your body during that window can either quietly work against your brain or actively help it repair itself while you rest. Because your brain doesn't switch off when you sleep, it gets to work. It spends those hours running the most important maintenance shift of your entire day. I want to be honest with you from the first sentence: I'm not selling anything. No capsules, no membership, no secret product. Just ordinary food, the kind sitting in your kitchen right now or a short walk away at the grocery store. Food that a real and growing body of research suggests can support memory, calm inflammation, and help your brain do its overnight repair work well. My name is Adrian Wells. I'm not a doctor. I'm someone who has spent years reading the nutrition science on aging and the brain and translating it into plain language for people who don't have the time or the university library access to dig through the journals themselves. Everything I share tonight is something you can go verify for yourself, and I'll tell you plainly where the science is strong and where it's still being worked out. Let's start with a real study, because it deserves your attention. Researchers at Rush University Medical Center, working with colleagues at Wageningen University, followed a large group of older adults for years and tracked what they ate against how their thinking skills changed over time. People who ate seafood at least once a week showed a meaningfully slower rate of cognitive decline than those who ate it less often. A difference the researchers estimated was roughly equivalent to being 3 to 4 years younger, cognitively speaking. That's not a rounding error. That's the difference between reaching for a word and finding it, and reaching for a word and coming up empty. I want to walk you through 5 foods, evening-focused, ordinary, and grounded in real research, not miracle claims. I'll tell you what the science actually shows, and I'll be honest about the limits of that science too. Number 5, blueberries. Blueberries, especially wild blueberries, carry unusually high levels of anthocyanins, the deep blue-purple pigments that also happen to be some of the most studied plant compounds for brain health. As we age, low-grade inflammation in brain tissue tends to rise, and some research suggests anthocyanins may help blunt that process, partly because they're able to cross the blood-brain barrier, something many compounds can't do. Some smaller trials in older adults have found modest improvements in memory and executive function after weeks of regular blueberry intake. It's a promising area of research rather than settled fact, but half a cup of blueberries in the evening, alongside a bit of healthy fat for absorption, is a low-risk, genuinely good habit. Number 4, Greek yogurt. The case for Greek yogurt in the evening rests mainly on 2 things: tryptophan, which is a building block for serotonin and eventually melatonin, and casein, a slow-digesting protein. Casein releases amino acids gradually over several hours, which may be useful overnight since aging bodies tend to become less efficient at using protein, a real well-documented phenomenon researchers call anabolic resistance. A cup of full-fat plain Greek yogurt, minus the sugary granola toppings, about 30 to 45 minutes before bed, is a reasonable, well-supported choice. Number 3, walnuts. Walnuts stand out among nuts because they contain a meaningful amount of alpha-linolenic acid, a plant-based omega-3, along with polyphenols and antioxidants. Your body can convert some ALA into DHA, the fatty acid that makes up a large share of your brain's structural fat, though that conversion becomes less efficient with age, which is part of why direct sources of omega-3s matter more as the years go on. Research on nut consumption and cognitive aging is genuinely encouraging, if not yet fully conclusive. A small handful, around an ounce, roughly a dozen halves, an hour or so before bed is a sensible, evidence-aligned habit. I think here of a woman I'll call Margaret, a retired teacher in her mid-70s, who told me that after a couple of months of small, consistent changes like this, not walnuts alone, never any single food alone, she felt like some of the fog had lifted. I want to be careful here. That's one person's experience, not a clinical result, and everyone's biology is different. I share it because it's a useful reminder that small daily habits, given time, can add up to something that feels significant to the person living it. Number 2, raw honey in modest amounts. Raw, unheated honey contains compounds that some early research suggests may support a calmer stress response before sleep, and elevated nighttime cortisol is genuinely linked to worse sleep quality and, over time, to memory consolidation problems. The neurogenesis research here, the idea that certain honey compounds might encourage new neuron growth in the hippocampus, is real, but still mostly early stage and preliminary. I'd frame honey less as a brain-growing miracle and more as a gentle, low-glycemic way to sweeten a cup of warm tea before bed without spiking your blood sugar the way refined sugar would. 1 to 2 teaspoons is plenty. Number 1, fatty fish. This brings us back to that Rush University research. Wild salmon, sardines, and mackerel are the richest dietary sources of preformed DHA and EPA, the omega-3s your brain uses directly, without needing to convert them from a plant source first. Given that conversion efficiency drops with age, getting DHA preformed straight from fish matters more the older you get. Fatty fish also brings along vitamin D, B12, and selenium, 3 nutrients where deficiency is common in older adults and where the consequences for brain and mood are well established. You don't need to eat fish every night, 2 to 3 servings a week, prepared simply, baked or steamed rather than fried, lines up with what the actual research supports, including that Rush study I mentioned at the start. So there you have it, blueberries, Greek yogurt, walnuts, a little raw honey, and fatty fish a few times a week. None of it is a miracle. All of it is ordinary. And the honest version of this story is less dramatic than the one you'll find on a lot of health channels. But it's the one that's actually true, and I think that matters more. Take care of yourself tonight. I'll talk with you again soon.